Welcome, everybody. John Zager. Well, let's see. I guess it's good evening. 7:06 in the evening here in Colorado on the eastern slope. Denver's getting pounded right now by a big storm with lots of hail driving through the south end of the metro. Up here north of Denver, it's just blue skies, clouds, heavy clouds off to the east, and you can see the clouds down there to the south, but nothing here, just hot. God, I wish it would stop being hot here. It takes forever to go to sleep. It's way after midnight before it cools down. So, hope everybody had a good day. Tuesday, right? I kept pretty busy. I had quite a few things to do. Wanted to do a short podcast this evening, and I am going to keep it short and brief, but just on how we make ourselves sick, and it's our choice to remain sick. Okay? So that's kind of the topic, but here we go. So everybody seems to be understanding that medicine today is Newtonian physics, and there's a cause and an effect, right? And it's great for trauma. That's about all it's good for anymore. And if a little kid falls out of a tree and breaks his arm, medicine today can probably, hopefully, fix a broken arm. I wouldn't bet on it, but we'll go with the theory that medicine today can do that. Medicine today is relevant in the sense of immediate issues, trauma, things that can be fixed in a relatively short period of time. And they have no knowledge, no understanding, no concept of terminal disease, nor do they want to have any understanding of it, because they're paid by the pharmaceutical companies, including the nurses. And they're not trained to understand. And this is the nurses too. They don't understand, nor do they want to understand how to heal people. What's the example that I use? Take any disease, cancer. Cancer should have been gone a long, long time ago. But Newtonian physics, medicine, current medicine, they can't come up with a cure for it. They get paid from the pharmaceutical companies who want it to go on. The doctors want the cancers to go on. The doctors and the pharmaceutical companies expect people will die from cancer. And they got all kinds of statistics, and they're happy to show you their analytics of how many people get this kind of cancer and what the survival rate is, and we offer this medicine, that medicine, and this treatment and that treatment, and the statistics change to this, and, we don't have a cure for it. Really? Huh. Seems like a lot of other places in the world have a cure for it. Why don't you? Pharmaceutical companies, big dollars. It's politics, you guys. It's kind of like, what's a similarity to it? One world order. You know, if you think the government of the United States is run by the people back east, you're nuts. It's not. There's money and politics behind our government. And there's people that are making decisions behind the scenes regarding our government. The same difference. So, I guess, I hope that when I go in and do workshops or talks or whatever, lectures, or when I listen to prominent people that do that kind of stuff, the question comes up in the beginning where the presenter always says, you know, can you make yourself sick? And the majority of the people in the audience usually raise their hand and acknowledge the fact that, yeah, we can make ourselves sick. And then the question comes behind it of, can you make yourself well? Which is really another way of saying, can you heal yourself? And the hands don't go up as much, because their understanding is of Newtonian physics and, medicine can't do it, how could I do it? So then, in workshops, the premise is, here, let me give you science. Let me present to you science and show you that belief systems, perceptions, environment, food, atmosphere, water, stress, emotional issues, we can go down the list, probably 100 of them, can and do cause your body to upregulate disease genes. Period. There is no genetics behind it. 0.04%. So based on our personalities, how we think, act, and feel, our moods, that's emotions, you guys, our temperaments, more mood and emotions, nervous system, neuroscience, connects the brain with the nervous system, and then personality traits. All of that stuff contributes to acquiring and having disease find you. There's a period at the end of that. It isn't hypothetical. It isn't maybe. It isn't possible. It isn't this could happen. There's an outside chance. There's a minute statistic that shows this could occur. No, it's science, you guys. It is fact. It does happen. The nurses and the doctors out there still, and I don't know if they're friends anymore after listening to me as much as they do, as they don't. They don't buy all this stuff. Because they're brainwashed in the Newtonian model. They just don't get it. They don't want to get it. Now, here's the point. The patients, the people who are sick, the people who have the disease, don't want to get it either. They don't want to get on this ship. They don't want to get on this bandwagon. Couple reasons. Couple reasons. One, they like being sick. Oh, and they're screaming and yelling if there's any of them listening to me right now, and they like being sick. They're addicted to their disease. And all the secondary gains that it gets them. In addition to death. And deep down inside, they know they're dying. But the secondary gains are so enormous. All their friends pay attention to them. All their friends, try to soothe them and comfort them and give them encouragement and pray to God for them. And spontaneous remission. That's where people miraculously, if you're a Christian, become cured of a terminal disease where they're in their last stage. Or what's the other one? I forget what the other one was. But, I don't know, I can't remember it. So the other part that goes along with people that remain sick is that they believe medicine is going to be the only cure-all for them. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen from medicine. And of course, medicine ain't going to cure them. They haven't been able to, and they continue to feed them medication that just gets them worse. And if they're truthful, they'll talk about the medicine that keeps them worse. People are going over the borders. They're going to different countries to get healed. You go over to Asia. They don't use medicine, pharmaceuticals. They don't do invasive surgeries. On, for example, cancer patients. Last stage. 98% cure rate. What's up with that? All of you nurses and doctors in the hospitals today, what's up with that? 98% cure rate. You know what that means? That means these people don't have cancer, and guess what? They did not die, and they did not suffer. And it wasn't a long thing. Some of these cancers, 3 minutes, and they're gone. That's science. That's not hocus pocus, what you guys do in the hospitals. What you do in the hospitals is hocus pocus. What you do in the offices, the doctor's offices, is hocus pocus. So the patients, the people who do acquire diseases, a lot of them do want to remain sick. They're addicted to it because of all the secondary gains that they get, plus they think medicine's going to save them. Wrong on both counts. The people with spontaneous remissions recover because they change their belief system. Period. There ain't no pharmaceutical they're taking. There isn't any surgeries being performed. They changed their belief system. They got sick based on their belief system, and they got cured based on their belief system. The story of I'll just tell one story. How much time do I have here? Okay. So I told this story like 6 months ago, and I'll make it real short and brief. The lady decides that she realizes that she has cancer. Her doctor diagnosed her with cancer and eventually got to 4th-stage cancer. And her fiancé had gone through all this with her. And he was struggling as much as she was struggling, and she wasn't getting any better, and she would have to go to the emergency room periodically and have treatment. You know, you get that sick, you need some form of medicine to relieve some of the disease. And of course, they have medication that can do that. And finally, she gets really sick and has to go to the emergency room. Fiance takes her, drops her off, and he leaves, and he doesn't ever come back, and she's never seen him since. It was just too much for him. We won't even go into what that entails. We won't even go into, is this person going to attract disease to himself now based on how he just treated this other human being? We're not even having that conversation. She goes to stay with her mother. Doctor gives her 2 weeks or 3 weeks or some little amount of time. And she gets to her mother out of the emergency room and stays over at her mom's house. And she's on all this medication. And the first thing her mom says to her is, she says, well, why should we keep taking all this expensive medicine if you're going to die in 3 weeks? And the lady who had the fiancé that skipped out on her, who has the 4th-stage cancer, who's supposed to die in 2 to 3 weeks, said, you know what, Mom, that's a good idea. There's no sense in us spending money on medicine if I'm dying in 3 weeks. So we just won't buy it, and I won't take it. And she proceeded to go into 6 hours of meditation in the morning and 6 hours of meditation in the evening. That's the whole waking part of her day, more or less, right? And she did that religiously for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And she continued to do that for another 2 weeks. And she didn't stop meditating in the morning or in the evening. And she went back to the doctor, and the doctor says, you're supposed to be dead. And she said, I don't believe that. So there's the, what's the other story? I don't know, I guess I can't think of, there's just so many different stories of people that recover just based on the fact of the change in their belief system. You know, accept, believe, and surrender that you're well is the placebo, right? So there's the mom who, another short one. There's the mom who is in, with her doctor, and he eventually says she has cancer, and, it got to the part where it's 4th stage, the end. And he says to her, you have a few weeks left to live, short month, and you need to get home and get your affairs in order. And she says, okay, I'm kind of busy right now. I'll try to get that in. I'll try to do something about that real soon. And he says, no, you're not taking me serious. You're dying. You're going to be dead in a few weeks. You need to get your affairs in order. She says, well, I've got some kids, and I've got to take care of my kids right now. And the doctor's just disgusted. Here, take this medicine. Here, go see a psychiatrist. Here, you're not thinking clearly. Yes, she is thinking clearly. She said, thanks, Doc, and I'll see you later. And she leaves the office and goes home. And she has two boys. They're, I don't know, junior high and early high school or something like that. And she says, boys, we're going to have a family meeting. We got to get together. Let's sit down for dinner, and then after dinner we'll sit here, and there's some important things that we have to talk about. And the boys are great boys, and they say, okay, Mom. And so they all sit there and have dinner, and then Mom is at the table, and she's looking at the two boys, and she says to them, boys, I have something very important you have to make a decision on. And I want you guys to really think about it hard right now, because it's going to impact our lives, in the near future. And they said, sure, Mom, we'll do it. Whatever it is, we're happy to do it. And she says, we have to plan where we're going on vacation next summer. And I need to save enough money and make reservations and get the car in order. And, I have to do all this kind of stuff in order for us to enjoy ourselves and be happy and have vacation next summer. So I want to know where you'd like to go. That was it. That was the conversation. She since a few weeks later went back and got her marks taken, and they had dropped below any level of cancer, and they could not find a cancer cell in the, 100 trillion cells? 100 trillion cells in the body. They couldn't find any cancer in her body. The doctor was pissed off. He was supposed to be able to put a mark on the wall that says, another patient died. I don't know that. I just made that up. But, so there's the people who are non-believers, and they want to remain sick. And in fact, they want to die. And there's the people who are believers, that they make themselves sick and they can make themselves well. There's a greater intelligence that made us. And that greater intelligence can fix us. So if you're out there, and if you happen to have some sort of prolonged illness, physical or emotional, call me up. Let me tell you a dozen stories. I'll just pick out 12. Let me tell you a dozen stories of people who were supposed to die, and because of their belief system, are alive and well today. Let me tell you where to go in the library or on your on the internet. I don't care if it's on your phone or your computer or wherever, and where you can read all the stories of all the people that healed themselves. That's what I suggest you do if you're not getting well. Go look up the hospitals over in Asia. Look at their statistics for cure rates if you don't believe. So, how much time? Okay, so, anyway, that's my little podcast for tonight. I think it's very important. I don't know how to get across to people. I mean, I have people very, very close to me that are just hell-bent on they're going to be sick and they're going to die. and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not in charge of that. but I keep trying to put the word out that they don't have to be in the situation they're in, and they don't want to hear it. God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I look forward to talking to you all again real soon. Thanks. See you. Bye.